Hey, this is C&D channel. I'm Chris, and this is MMA for you. I'm going to be doing my post-fight analysis for UFC 139, and also do some post-fight analysis for Bellator 58, and a little bit on even Strikeforce Challengers 20. I mean, all three of these cards that happened this weekend are all pretty newsworthy. Let's just get started. As far as picks go, didn't do too great with the UFC ones. A lot of them are very hard to pick. I knew that going in. And a lot of fights could have gone either way. So, a lot of these fights I thought were really close. Even with the Henderson-Shogun fight, I find some controversy in the judging there, which I'll go into with the whole thing with no 10-8 rounds in that fight. So you know what? Let's just get right to it. Dan Henderson beat Mauricio Shogun Rua by unanimous decision. Okay, great fight. This is fight of the year. Easy. I mean, it was just one of those fights where the funny thing is Shogun was actually the more technical fighter when he didn't brawl with Henderson. That was the thing, especially when he was throwing a jab. It was really good. He didn't fight at range. If he fought more at range, I think he could have actually taken done even in the stand-up. But he wants to go inside, especially throwing that uppercut. Dan Henderson's right hand, man, found its mark. Dropped Shogun a couple times. There was one time in the second or third round where it looked like the fight was done. Got to give props to Josh Rosenthal here because some guys would have called the fight off by TKO, but he saw that Shogun was fighting. He's working a half guard sweep, even as he was getting blasted. And that's the thing. There's a lot of aspects of MMA. You saw the striking. You saw wrestling. You saw a lot of good jiu-jitsu from Shogun. The thing is, there's an argument to be made that maybe some of the early rounds where Shogun got dropped should have been 10-8. And I get those. I personally don't see those as 10-8 if the other guy fights back. That's the thing, and it's Dan Henderson dropped Shogun, pounded on him, but then Shogun managed to pound on Henderson right after. He took him down, pounding on him, kind of leaned on, and it wasn't so overwhelming, I guess. I personally thought the fight should have been a draw, with Dan Henderson getting the first 3 rounds 10-9. Shogun getting round 4, 10-9, and then him getting round 5, 10-8. There was almost no offense from Dan Henderson in that 5th round. He was getting continually mounted and just pounded on. I mean, he had zero offense here. I think that, to me, that definitely constitutes a 10-8 right there, because I mean, he, like I said, with the other rounds, yeah, he got dropped, but Shogun was fighting back. It wasn't totally, even though he inflicted more damage, at least Shogun was fighting back and got his own hits in. And the 5th round, Shogun got pure offense. I mean, it was just 5 minutes of just Shogun pretty much in mount. And with Henderson, I don't even know if he got a punch in that round. So that's why I feel the fight should have been a draw. Granted, I'm not going to say, if you want to say that Dan Henderson got some 10-8s earlier, there's an argument for that. I'm not going to say there isn't, First thing, I thought the fight was a draw. And I think it goes to something about judging that gets talked about a lot of times. They don't do 10-10 rounds in MMA, and they don't do a lot of 10-8 rounds in MMA. So it's just one of those things where, it was a great fight, though, man. This is awesome. It was so back and forth. Shogun actually looked kind of out of shape to me. I mean, he generally doesn't come in and looking like he's in the greatest shape, but in this one he kind of had a gut, kind of had some love handles. They were tired, but they still kept fighting. I don't know how these guys withstood some of these strikes that got inflicted on them too, man. It was crazy. Great fight of the year, easy. And I seriously thought that some of these fights on the undercard, like Vanderlei Silva versus Kung Lee, or some other fight would have got fight of the night. But man, this one was definitely made the case for 5 rounds. It was just a great fight. Shogun doesn't really even lose much from losing here. So it was just great stuff, man. And next fight after that, Vanderlei Silva beat Kung Lee by knockout in the 2nd round. Kung Lee was, I think he had the 1st round. I think he was doing really well in the 2nd round. He goes straight back, which is one of his problems. He hasn't fought in a long time, which is another one of his problems. Joe Rogan made the argument that he's going for a single. You shouldn't have stopped the fight, and I think Rosenthal would have actually been like, okay, let the fight continue. But it shows that how game Kung Lee is too, man. He takes a devastating shot. His nose is broken all over the place. It was a really fun fight. I like watching Kung Lee because he throws like side kicks like they're jabs. He throws a lot of moves like they're jabs. I mean, they don't look. It doesn't look slow. It doesn't look telegraphed or anything. And these are like spinning wheel kicks or spinning roundhouses, and whatnot. But Vanderlei, good for him. He took some pretty hard shots from Lee as well. Got dropped in the 1st round by a spinning back fist that Lee kept going back to. He managed to get his barrage in. I'm glad to see his knees back, man. I haven't seen a lot of those knees in a long time. It's really good to see him do those knees again. He needed to bring him back. Brought him back for this fight. Got the knockout. I picked Lee to win that one, and then he was winning, but Vanderlei definitely, once he gets inside, man, he's always gonna be vicious. Okay, next fight after that, and we're gonna see pretty much we got the #1 contender here as Uriah Faber beat Brian Bowles by submission by a guillotine choke. Great fight here, man. Great performance by Faber. I think he improved. It's just one of those things. Like there's certain guys I don't expect to really improve too much, because they've been fighting for a while. But I thought I saw some good timing by Faber, a little more patience, a little less recklessness. I feel that Faber improved. I even said coming in that I thought Bowles is a more technically sound striker, and Faber proved me wrong here, man. He was actually showing a lot more technically sound striking and accuracy and timing. He found a home for that uppercut. He did a tiger uppercut there, man. He extended his arm to get that uppercut, which really started the sequence of Bowles losing. Great guillotine choke. At Team Alpha Male, some great guillotines. It was a great performance by Faber. He's going to fight Cruz. I still favor Cruz to beat Faber, but you know what, man? This is it's pretty good. Good performance from him. When I know they were talking after the 2nd Faber versus Cruz fight, I thought Cruz would take it. I still do, but I see it more of like, oh, now I really feel that Faber has a chance of beating Cruz. Like back then, I didn't really see much of a chance of that in the 3rd fight, but now maybe. Still going with Cruz here. Brian Bowles goes back to the bottom, unfortunately. He looked good. I mean, I think Faber was just a little too quick for him, really. That's the thing. But good fight there. Next fight after that, Martin Kampmann beat Rick Story by split decision. This fight could have gone either way, to be honest with you. There's a 30-27 decision. I don't know who got that one. Oh, wait, no. Kampmann got that. I don't believe he got all 3 rounds here at all. yeah, I thought Story at least got the first. He was getting counterpunched a lot. Story was. I think his pressure tactics are working in the first round. He kind of lost that in the second. That really cost him, and in the third too. When he was really pushing forward on Campman, kind of like what Diego did. He was actually, that's when Story's finding his most success. With Campman, good win for him. Man, that guy was, he's had a lot of questionable decisions. So it's really good that he got the decision here. It's really tough to say who got this fight, though. Well, I guess Campman did, at the end of the day, he'll be seen as victor. Story looked good. He looked like a guy that can hang with the top 10. That's what I really got out of this, because I do find Campman in that top 10 welterweight. He even showed some takedown ability here, which is really nice. And his striking's good. His straight punches are really good. I forget if he's I think he's orthodox. He has a really good right cross. So good win for Campman. He really needed it. Story 2 losses in a row now to Brenneman and Campman. I can see him coming back up. He can definitely hang with the top of the division. Okay, Stephen Bonner beat Kyle Kingsbury by unanimous decision. Even taking a 30-25 and a 1 judge's scorecard. Didn't expect Bonner to use offensive wrestling on Kingsbury. Yeah, Kingsbury looked just lost on the ground. Obviously, Bonner, legit Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. So it's hard to get out of the bottom from a guy like Bonner, but and Bonner was working a lot of different positions. He was kind of like moving like a clock. Clock hands, where it's like he'd go from one side of side mount, he'd go to like north-south. Then he'd go back to the other side of side mount. He'd try some crucifixes and other things as well. And Kingsbury just looked really out of his element there. It's a learning experience for him. Bonner's actually in a 3-fight winning streak now, which makes me wonder if he should have bigger fights now. It's tough to say. Bonner actually in a Prokhorov fight, he uses wrestling as well to win that one. So you're definitely seeing a lot more Bonner fighting smarter. In the stand-up, he still has like no defense, similar to former champion Eddie Alvarez. I had to pull that in there. With Kingsbury, it's tough because everyone touts him being really athletic, but it's just one of those things. It's hard to see him. I can't really see how far he's gonna get. He seems to have heavy hands, some decent stand up. Everything's just like decent right now. It's hard to say how far he'll get. Bonner's interesting. I'd say I'm giving someone kind of high. Maybe give him a Matyushenko, maybe Brandon Vera, but I don't really like that fight. I'm thinking maybe Alexander Gustafsson. That'd be pretty cool as well. And on to the Spike prelims. Ryan Bader beat Jason Brills by knockout in the first round. I think Brills will probably get cut after this. He got knocked out in the first round by Matyushenko before this, and now he got knocked out by Bader. Coming into this fight, I thought that Bader was just a better version of Brills. He kind of proved it here. Had better stand-up. Makes me really wonder, though, how did Bader get caught dropped by Tito? It boggles my mind, actually. Like, wow, because Bader isn't like he doesn't have like terrible stand-up or anything, definitely has a lot of power. So good one for him, definitely climbing back up there. You do Bader versus Bonner, that'd be pretty cool. The next fight after that, Michael McDonald beat Alex Soto by knockout in the first round. Good win by Michael McDonald, man. you know, this kid really shows why he's, in my opinion, like the best prospect, bantamweight prospect out there. Stand up is really coming along. Kid's only like 20 or something. You know, the sky's the limit for him. His ground game's really good too. He's submitted guys from his back and whatnot. Alex Soto, you know, he's only had 6 fights. I don't know if bantamweight division's small, so he might get another fight there in the bantamweight division. You never know. But Michael McDonald, after a performance like this, definitely think he should get a higher profile fight now. You know, if you really want to push him, give him like a Demetrius Johnson or something like that. Could give him like a title eliminator with like Renan Barão or something like that. That'd be pretty cool. But I don't think you need to push him that far up. Jeez, I can't. Maybe like a Mizugaki or something like that. It's hard to. There aren't too many bantamweights out there. That's why I can't think of like a good bantamweight for Michael McDonald to fight. Miguel Torres. Oh yeah, he just won. Miguel Torres, Michael McDonald would be pretty cool too. So there's a lot of good fights. Ivan Mendivar, Michael McDonald. So yeah, there's a lot of good bantamweights out there actually. Now I think about it. Get on to Facebook prelims. Chris Weidman beat Tom Lawler by Darce choke in the first round. Made that look way too easy, man. The takedown looked too easy, and getting to the position for the choke looked way too easy. This guy needs to fight some higher caliber competition now. He needs to be showcased a little more, put on some main cards, because too much talent right now. You know, he is the top middleweight prospect, and he's really showing it. You know, I mean, he seriously, this one impressed me just because of how easy it looked. He took Tom Lawler down like it was nothing. I mean, it looked really easy. I think he was in side mount, and then he locked into submission, something like that. And like I said, he just made it look so easy. And his stand up still needs some work. That's my only concern for him, especially his defense. Otherwise, yeah, higher profile fights for this guy, man. Give him something like a Dan Miller. Like he's like your solid mid tier guy. If you want to give him like a Court McGee, that'd be kind of cool. You know, Tim Bosch, but Tim Bosch is gonna fight someone pretty tough actually. I forgot who it was. So yeah, you know, there's a lot of good fights for Weidman, for sure. The next fight after that, Gleison Tibau beat Rafael dos Anjos by split decision. So the fight wasn't the most eventful fight. Tibau did actually manage to draw stagger and really I don't know if he dropped him, but he definitely wobbled dos Anjos. I had dos Anjos. I predicted him to win, but Tibau pretty much. I don't even think it should have been a split decision, to be honest. I thought Tibau just won it pretty clear cut, to be perfectly honest. You know, I said this about Tibau before, and also, you know, it's like he's improving, which is really good. I still don't see, besides the wrestling, I still don't see the skills that'll really vault him into the top 10 yet. He's improving. His hands are improving as well, which is really nice. So, you know, the guy could prove me wrong, but, you know, it just, you know, like I said this before, he wins a couple, then right when he, like, gets in that fight that'll really get him into the top division, he loses it. I don't know if that's going to happen to him or anything in his next fight, and I don't really know who should fight next. Maybe like an Evan Dunham or something like that. Who else is up there? Winner of Miller versus Gallard, but he already fought Gallard before. Sam Stout maybe, or the winner of Barboza versus Adam would be pretty cool. I mean, there's good fights for him for sure. The lightweight division, there's no shortage of fights. Dos Anjos back to the drawing board with him. Even though he was probably worried about the wrestling, he definitely should have fought longer. He should have used his kicks a lot more. You know, I understand why he didn't though. The other thing I didn't like about what he was doing is he was doing a lead uppercut from really far away. I don't know. I mean, it would always hit air. It wasn't like favors on Bowles either. You know, that's the thing. It was just really hitting air, and I think it was a honestly a poor choice of strikes to use, because it just lead uppercut, maybe it wasn't working. That's the thing. Next fight after that, Miguel Torres beat Nick Pace by unanimous decision. Tough to say what happens with Nick Pace here, because I think it's 2 losses in a row now for him. He also came in way overweight for this fight. Good win for Torres, man. This guy, I remember when he was like a pound for pound fighter. I loved watching this guy fight. So he's he's coming back up the ladder for sure. He definitely has the skills. Stand-up solid. His ground game's really solid. He definitely has top 10 skills. I think he should fight someone up there. If you want to elevate him, you could do like a title eliminator, Burrell versus Torres. That'd be pretty freaking cool, to be honest. Rematch with Brian Bowles if you want to go to the rematch route. Have him fight Michael McDonald or something. So there's a lot of good fights for Miguel Torres. The next fight after that, Seth Baczynski beat Matt Brown by submission by guillotine choke in the second round. Oh man, Matt Brown. Much do you lose by submission all the time. Love the guy. I don't think he'll be cut, because he always takes fights on short notice. He's a game fighter, He's a guy, if someone's injured, it's like, oh, hey, Matt Brown's free, Good win from Baczynski. He's actually picking up a good win streak here. He just beat Matt Brown. He beat Clay Harbinson. Good win for him. Don't know who he should fight next. Maybe like a Che Mills or something like that. Some lower tier guys he can fight for sure. And finally, Danny Castillo beat Shamar Bailey by TKO in the first round. Pretty odd stoppage. I mean, Bailey wasn't doing anything. It wasn't like a terrible stoppage or anything like that. Good win for Castillo. Got a really big takedown. Went to mount at one time. Bailey recovered half guard. Bailey kind of lost on the ground on his back. Wrestlers don't like being on the back, and it showed. It showed here. Good one for Castillo. It's kind of like a lower tier, lightweight, because before this he lost to Jacob Volkman. So it's really tough to say. You got to give him some other lower tier guys at this point, and let's see how he develops. So that's it for my Bellator UFC post-fight analysis. Let's go on to Bellator. Okay, I'm really disappointed in former champ Eddie Alvarez as he lost to Michael Chandler in the 4th round, and Michael Chandler is now the new lightweight champion for Bellator. Eddie Alvarez, he showed this before. I didn't think it'd get exposed. I said it in the predictions. He has really bad striking defense. Even Roger Huerta managed to drop him. Showed here really bad. I mean, the guy offensively is really good. His defensive wrestling is really good. His weakness really is the stand-up. Defense in the stand-up. Ben Henderson has that same problem too. But Eddie Alvarez has it really bad because he gets into a lot of these firefights, man. He was killing Chandler in that 3rd round too, man. That 1st round was pretty, Eddie was getting dropped a lot too. 2nd round, I think Eddie was pulling away with this fight too. It looks like he was on his way to win the fight after the 3rd round when Chandler was pretty much a human punching bag. Alvarez, somehow lost it for himself in the 4th. He gets dropped. Oh man, just disappointing, man. Just really disappointing, to see him lose in the way that he lost, because it really is he really did lose it for himself. You know what I mean? Good one for Chandler. I like the kid a lot. Still really young. Great wrestling. It's obvious that his hands are quickly improving. The thing with Chandler too, I mean, there's some guys in the Bellator tournament that I can't really think could beat him. I think Alvarez definitely has the best skill set to beat Michael Chandler. And that's the thing, and it really showed in this fight. I don't know if like the one the Pitbull brothers could do. You know, Patricky. You know, he's gonna be in the tournament. Jeez, who else is in it? I think Bezerra's in the tournament, but I'm not too sure. Or LC's in the featherweight tournament. I need to see who's in the tournament right now to see if any of them can would be a good match for Chandler. You know, he's gonna be a tough fighter for anyone, man. He definitely is a great prospect. Like I said, he's a lot like Sean Sherrick. Strong wrestling, strong top control. You know, good in the clinch. Stand-ups improving as well. Eddie Alvarez, man, get back into the tournament, win it. You know, just fight Chandler in the rematch. It isn't a case where like 9 times out of 10 Chandler would beat Alvarez. You know, honestly, like if they rematch, there's a good chance that Alvarez could beat Chandler. That's the thing, but man, really disappointing from him. Well, Hector Lombard, though, beat Trevor Prangley by TKO in the second round. Good win for Lombard. Difficult win. You know, I mean, he beats the Prangleys of the world. You know, he beats the Jesse Taylors. He beats the Joe Dirksons. As far, you know, he's going to fight Alexander Shlemenko again. That's probably going to be a tougher test than Trevor Prangley, to be perfectly honest. And I like Trevor Prangley. Don't get me wrong. I like the guy. You know, he's a game opponent. He's fought in 2 different weight classes. Fought a who's who of fighters. Fought in just about every MMA organization you can think of. So I like the guy. You know, and just, you know, Hunt Lombard just beats up on guys like him. You know, that's the thing. Lombard's really quick. I like that he throws combinations. There's a lot of haymakers. Someone's gonna expose his gas tank. When you throw haymakers with every ounce of power you have and you miss, you know, or if some guy can maybe weather the storm, he's gonna get tired out. So I have a feeling that someone's gonna expose his cardio. I don't know if someone in Bellator will do it, but I maybe Shlemenko actually, you know. But you know, good win nonetheless for Lombard. Okay, Jessica Aguilar beat Lisa Ellis by unanimous decision. Not much to say about this fight. Ellis didn't look very good. Aguilar, I don't know when they're doing a 115 tournament. I think Aguilar beat Zola Gurgel. I keep saying it, you know. I think Megumi Fuji beat Zola Gurgel as well. Aguilar's stand-ups come a long way. She has some wrestling ability as well. Her ground game is really strong as well. So as far as she's definitely one of the more well-rounded fighters if they have another like 115 tournament anytime soon. Marlon Sandro beat Rafael Davis by arm triangle in the first round. Good win for Sandro. You know. He'll probably be back in the next featherweight tournament. There's going to be some interesting entries in that next tournament. Did I have the right weight class? It's 145, right? Yeah, because he lost to Pat Curran. You know, this was just a really strong win for him. He needed it to come back from that Pat Curran loss, especially since he was winning that fight. On the undercard, you know, Brett Cooper beat Jared Hess. Valdir Araujo beat Alton Barboza. Cosmo Alexander got his win against Avery McFadder by TKO in the first round in 20 seconds. So, you know, that's a guy I wanted to see in his pro MMA debut. Herbert Goodman beat Jonas Bilstein by DQ. It's that Bilstein threw an illegal soccer kick, and Fabio Melo beat Farkhad Sharapov by unanimous decision. Pretty disappointing for Sharapov, actually. On to Strikeforce Challengers. I'll just go on to main card. Derek Brunson beat Nate James by unanimous decision. I like Derek Brunson as a prospect. He's only 27. He has really strong wrestling, good positional control on top. Stand-up and his stand-up defense need a lot of work. The fight was just like all right. Actually, this was a really strong card. I was really impressed. Some challengers cards are awesome. Some of them are just okay, and some of them are like really boring. A lot of decisions. This one, all finishes, all first round finishes. So yeah, good stuff there. Trevor Smith beat TJ Cook by submission. I really like Trevor Smith's jiu-jitsu. There's he's just not afraid to go to the ground. He would take the back in some really slick ways. He got mounted slick ways. Even the way he got a guillotine is actually the way I learned it in class. You post up, you scoot your back, lock in the guillotine. What's kind of cool with Trevor Smith though is he carried TJ Cook to get a mounted guillotine for the win here. Really good stuff. It's cool seeing someone utilize something I learned in class in an MMA fight, but of course he took it to the next level and mounted with it too. So yeah, good one for him. One thing I gotta wonder too with Strikeforce Challengers, are these guys ready for the UFC? I mean, and that's not to say to fight top guys, okay? Maybe to fight like lower guys. Hey, I'd like to see some of these, like a Brunson, fight some of the lower tier middleweights. Same with Trevor Smith and whatnot. Adlan Hamagov beat Anthony Smith by KO in the first round. There was a really wild exchange that led to this KO, man. I picked against Amagov, and I really wish I didn't because he also has a Sambo background. He's actually a prospect to look out for. His stand-up's really solid. He's got a lot of power, and he has a good Sambo background as well. So, yeah. He's a prospect to look out for. Honestly, I think he should probably move up to like the the bigger Strikeforce cards. I don't know what's happening with Strikeforce right now. There's actually there's rumors, and Dana White hinted that Strikeforce may actually be here to stay. So I don't really know what's going on anymore with Strikeforce. If it is here to stay, then I'd like to see Ronda Rousey fight go down to 135 and fight Miesha Tate, because her armbars are just. I don't want her armbarring. Her armbars are just nuts. I mean, seriously, she dislocated Julia Budd's elbow. I mean, it was nasty. Julia Budd's elbow just looks like totally out of place. It was a nasty armbar. Ronda, she got tagged a little bit, and there was something I was really worried about as she's reaching in to get that clinch. She gets tagged. Once she pushed her against the cage, she actually she gives the wizard position and clinch position, and she gives up her back to do that type of judo takedown, only to transition to like a trip. So it's really cool. Was in half guard, immediately passed the mount, and from there did an armbar. It is awesome. Ronda Rousey. I was actually surprised when she said she's thinking about cutting to 135. I thought she looked good. I mean, she's winning at 145, but if she can do it, there's some good fights there against like Miesha Tate, Sarah Kaufman. I hope they bring back like Marlos Kunin. Also, the person who just beat Amanda Nunes as well. She's, I don't know what is it, Kedzie? I'm not too sure now. With Julia Budd, I mean, she's like 2-2 now. She's probably going to be out for a while. It's it's tough to say. The division's so small too. It's like the 145 women's division. It's there's I can't really say where she goes from here because like there aren't that many women she can fight. That's the thing. And finally, Lumumba Sayers beat Antoine Britt by KO in the first round in 28 seconds. I picked against Sayers. I probably shouldn't because, man, did he blast Britt. His hands are really fast. He threw, one thing I really liked is he threw, a lot of the guys in MMA throw the long hooks. He was throwing more boxer style short hooks. I really like that. That's the way I learned hooks. I understand why they do it in MMA because you definitely want to work range, especially with the throw of takedowns and whatnot. But it's nice to see a guy work short hooks in MMA. Not enough MMA fighters utilize that type of hook. With Britt, man, this guy keeps losing. He might be cut from Strikeforce, and I didn't even know Strikeforce cuts guys. But good win for Sayers. So yeah, that's pretty much it for my post-fight analysis here. If you have any comments, just leave them below. And that's it for MMA for you. Thank you very much.